Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie again. And I did a reading on Wallis Simpson, and I just wanted to return to it and look a little bit further into this lady. Um, there are talks about her being a dominatrix, that her relationship with Edward was a very strange one. That she treated him very badly. Also, that she did regret marrying him, that she'd been sort of forced into the marriage, really. She got onto a path that she couldn't get out of, and she later regretted marrying him. And I want to find out whether any of that is true and whether he actually regretted abdicating. Also, the fact that he died alone. It's said that she wouldn't come to him when he was dying of cancer, that she would not visit him. She was in another part of the house, and that he wanted her to be with him, and he kept requesting her to be with him. And he finally died just with his nurse there. And these things, I just want the cards to clarify. There's so much written. Who knows? Who knows what the truth of any of this is? But I would like to start off by addressing this topic about the dominatrix. Was she? What was Wallis Simpson? Her role within that partnership, was she very much that? Did he need that in his life? His own parents have been extremely strict. He hadn't grown up with love. And I think they say something about, if you're not fed love from a spoon, you will lick it from a knife. And I wonder if Wallis in some way was the knife that he licked from, if you like, rather than, ever having that love from a boy, basically. So was she a dominatrix? That's my main question to start with. So I'm just going to go into the middle of the pack and just find where I feel I want to be. And we take whatever cards are shown. Well, Queen of Cups in reverse. This is unstable energy, the Queen of Cups in reverse. Queen of Cups the right way up, I would have said absolutely not. Absolutely not. She would be your loving wife. She would be your shoulder to cry on, very empathic and loving, tender, a really warm person, full of emotion. We haven't got it that way up. We've got it the other way. So everything that I just said, reverse, basically. Queen of Cups, very unstable energy. You wouldn't know from 1 minute to the next what you were walking into. Would she be in a good mood? Would she be in a bad mood? This is very, very unstable, mentally unstable, cold, not emotionally available. I think that anybody that knew Wallis Simpson, they said that, she was very waspish and very unkind with her words, and never really showed any emotion. And that's very much the Queen of Cups. So I would like to pull another couple of cards on this. Five of Cups. Okay, let's have another one. And the Hermit. I think the Five of Cups and then the Hermit in reverse. I see this emotion not from her. I don't know. I think her only way of connecting with him was through the kind of intimate relationship they had, through this domineering angle of their relationship. I don't know whether she did that with anybody else. I see this as like a great regret that the only way that she could get any reaction from him was to be this dominatrix. I think that for him to get any satisfaction at all from the relationship, she had to be that person. I see this figure here as being, the emotion is all on her. This is like a poor me kind of thing. It isn't feeling the emotion for Edward. This isn't, oh, my poor husband. This is poor me. I've got myself, this is becoming clear, I've got myself into this situation, and the only way to satisfy this man is with behaving this way. This is the only way that he can get any gratification, is me behaving that way. And poor me for being in this situation and having to cater to this. But with him, she was pretty heartless. I would say very heartless. And that led him into being very detached. I think that she would, with the Hermit in reverse like this is like sort of sending someone to Coventry. I think that, sorry, I don't know if you have that, you probably don't have that saying in America, but we say, oh, you send someone to Coventry. It means that you isolate them, you don't talk to them. So I see this as a woman who would ignore him, treat him like dirt basically, and ignore him and not give him attention. So these two sort of go hand in hand here. The sort of cruelness of the way that she treated him in line with this behavior here, and basically ignoring him, treating him badly probably in public situations as well, just treating him like an annoyance. But this emotion here is not for him. This is for herself. I feel so strongly about that. This is for her thinking, I have to do this. It sounds awful. I'm stuck with this man, and the only way to for him to get pleasure is for me to be this. And I think that she had a lot of unmet needs herself. I don't think that he was capable of meeting her needs, and I think this is the sorrow here. And let me just look, because I'm sure that she would have gone somewhere else to get her own needs met. Let's just see if the cards can be a little bit more clear. What have we got here? Strength in reverse. Yeah, I think that he was not a strong man. He was weak. He was just not what she wanted. She wanted someone who was very, very strong physically, to put her in her place, really. And I think she wore the trousers, and I think she really wanted a man that would turn around to her and dominate her. That was not him. He was not going to do that. So, I've got two questions answered here together. Was she a dominatrix? Did she treat him badly? Well, we can tell from this she did. He was not a strong man. He was quite a frail character. He was only like 5'5". He was a very short man. And I just see this all as being, she wanted a man that would just say, right, this is how it's going to be. This wasn't him. And this is like the sadness that she felt. She wanted someone to, take the lead with her. And all the time she has to play this sort of, this character here with him. and be the very controlling, almost, it sounds wrong to say mother in connection with this, but almost that sort of strict matriarch, tripping over into this dominatrix. What a complicated life they had, their actual intimate life, incredibly complicated. Her being the dominant one, but really also wanting a man that would satisfy her needs, which he, according to this, he never did. He never did. And so because he was so weak and she was so disappointed in him, she didn't have any kindness towards him. She kept this dominatrix persona going even out of the bedroom. You know, she kept this going because she was so frustrated by him and isolated him. You know, I'm not talking to you, and probably go days and days and days without talking to him and just not wanting to be around him. So I think we've answered those two questions really well. Did she regret marrying him? Well, I think from everything that's come out on that side, I think that pretty much safely say she did. But let's just see what the cards will say. I'm not going to take that because I wasn't quite ready for that. So did Wallis Simpson regret marrying Edward? Did she actually regret marrying Edward? Had she been just really forced into something that she couldn't in the end get out of? Did she regret marrying him? And from those four cards above, I think it's fairly safe to say that she did. But let's just see what these cards say. Did she regret marrying him? Yeah, I mean, yes. And there was no way out of it. In a way, this is like, I know it's not the swords energy, it's wands. We've got the 9 of wands here, but this creature is miserable. They've made like a sort of prison of these wands. It's like a cage, isn't it? They're wounded, but I don't see that. She was never physically wounded, but this is all mental wounding. This bandage around the head, it's almost like a mental scar. You know, she did it to herself. You know, she backed into him, well, she didn't back him into a corner, but everything just sort of went into a funnel, and he was abdicating. And then what can she do? He's given up everything. She's got to step forward. She's got to go through with this relationship. But how destructive. Look, if that is ever a card of regret and just on your knees and just facing the consequences of what you've done, then it's the 9 of wands, I think. Yes, she did regret. She deeply regretted. So I want to know, well, did he regret marrying her? I mean, look at everything that he gave up for her. Was it a big thing to give up? If he never wanted it, then maybe it wasn't a good, you know, a really big thing that he gave up. If he never wanted that responsibility, maybe she was just, you know, the excuse in a way that got him out of it. What did he feel? Did he regret marrying her? Did he regret this action? Abdicating and marrying her. 6 of Swords. Well, that's a moving on card. It's travel, but it's moving on with your life. That doesn't tell me that he regretted anything. I see that as him and her, you know, going off after they married. They went to Paris. You know, this is the travel card. I mean, they traveled all around. They lived in Barbados. They lived in Spain and I think Portugal. They moved all around Europe, and he particularly got to move away, got to be away from the royal family. Once he was away, I think that he wanted to come back. He was a very unsettled soul, and I don't think he ever knew what he wanted. But that doesn't tell me, that card alone, that he regretted marrying her. That just tells me that his life moved on, which indeed it did. 3 of Swords. this is heartbreak. It is heartbreak. Um, I kind of see this as the heartbreak of it not working out the way that he wanted. And I don't know whether that's his life with her or his status. She never got to be an HRH, and she was never recognized. And I think that caused him a great deal of heartache. So I need to clarify a little bit more. I'm not sure whether we're talking about the regret of, the general situation, or the regret of her personally. Because he was always trying to get her recognized for being, HRH, and wanted, people to curtsy to her and all that. The Hanged One, again, is not really telling me. It's not really telling me. These are cards that are kind of skirting around the issue. He stood back and he looked at the situation and thought of different ways to try and get her accepted. He tried to sort of, think of different ways to ingratiate her to the royal family, and none of them worked. His mother wouldn't accept her. And, he kind of sacrificed himself for this relationship. But cards, come on, give me one final card, any card. This is all a lot of regret and sadness. But is that just more regret and sadness that she was never recognized as Her Royal Highness? Or is this a personal regret? I'm just going to really shuffle here, because I really like something clearer. I really like a clearer card on this one particular question. Did Edward regret marrying Wallis Simpson? Did he regret marrying Wallis Simpson? Queen of Swords, truth. I don't think he did. I don't think he did, and that's really coming from deep in me. I think his regrets were that the royal family, the British public, just people in general, never accepted her. She never got, she was never curtsied to. She was never called Her Royal Highness. She never got that status. The Queen Mother in particular was extremely did not want to know at all. His own mother didn't want to know her. So I think this is regret about that. After the marriage, did he regret marrying her? Well, he moved away. He got on with his life. They moved to Paris. They had such an opulent life together. And I don't see that as regret. And I see the truth is, did he regret marrying her? I don't think he did. I think that he was 100% for her, that he thought that she was wonderful. I really believe that. And it's incredible because she was so hard on him. But it's like I said to you before, he never had love from a mother. He never had love from a father. And as I said to you, if you don't get love from a spoon, if you're not fed love from a spoon, you'll lick it from a knife. And I think Wallis was that knife. But he didn't regret. He thought that she was the Queen of Swords. This is the straight talk. She was like the woman that would just say to him, David this, David that. He'd never had anybody talk to him the way that she did. And I think he was so in awe of her, because she didn't care that he was a prince. She didn't care about that. And she was very, very straight talking to him. And he found that probably quite, coming up here, probably quite erotic. That probably did it for him in a way, all this sort of hard talking. So what about his final days, basically? He was in France, I believe. I believe he died in France, in their villa in France. And she was in one part of the mansion that they lived in, and he was in another with the nurse. And she didn't go and see him until after he passed. And he was calling for her, and it was the nurse that was with him at the end. And I want to know if that is actually true? Did he actually die alone, just with his nurse? This is like the memories card. It's your the things that you think about, probably if you think about the things that you would think about when your life is coming to a close, if you were to think about that, he's thinking back, but this way up, it would be really good memories, and you'd be passing on to the next life, and you would be remembering, all the good things, passing in and out of consciousness, remembering all lovely things from, things that had happened to you during your life, the people that you loved. That's the way I see this, as like a sort of deathbed memories, in and out of consciousness, remembering all the good things. He had on his mind one thing: he wanted Wallis with him. So he couldn't be peaceful. He couldn't, the memories that he's getting, he just wants to see his wife, and she's not there. That's the way that I'm reading that. I feel like a real strong feeling about that. In his mind, all he wants, and he's like ruminating on this, rather than thinking about the good, the good things that you hope that when you're going to be passing from this world, you think of everything good in your life that's happened, and you feel at peace. He wasn't at peace, and he was ruminating on what was going on. He wanted her with him. So let's have a couple more cards about, his final days and everything like that. So we've got Temperance in reverse. Yeah, I just think it was cruel. It was just such cruel energy to do that to him. It wasn't, temperance, the right way up. It's kind and it's balanced, and you just, if your partner who you'd been married to for all those years was passing, you would be with them. Obviously you would, and you'd be holding their hands, and you'd be that soothing person that, that they're with as they go from this world to the next. And that would be the way it should be, this way, isn't it? But no, it wasn't. She wasn't in that area of the house. He was calling for her, and this is drink. I know that she was drinking at this stage in her life. They'd always drunk, so she was in one part of the house. I can see that she was just away from him, not wanting. She was in this kind of energy up here, this Queen of Cups in reverse, with no emotions about it. And she wasn't with him when he passed, no. So make of that what you will. I find that a very, very, very sad reading. I have nothing more to add to that. Just this whole Edward and Mrs. Simpson thing, it was for a long, long time just touted to be such a love story, such a passionate thing to give up the throne for the woman that you love, and it really was a fairy story. But I think deep down, what it actually was a very weak man who could only get his own gratification by being dominated by this woman, and this woman was deeply unhappy because she wanted a strong man for herself, and that wasn't in her marriage. So she had to play this role to satisfy this man, and it made such a rod for her back, total misery. He didn't regret marrying her because she was this straight talking. This is what he liked, the cutting way that she was. But the regret in his life was that she was never accepted by the royal family. But it gave him freedom. Their relationship gave him the freedom to move on. But when he needed her, when he was dying and he needed her, rather than being that love that was near him and that he could think about tender things that had happened in his life, it was all in reverse. She wasn't there. She was in another part of the house doing whatever she was doing with this kind of energy. And he was left alone, ruminating on the fact that he wanted her. This is the thoughts and the feelings. He wanted her and she wasn't around. So I will leave that with you. Very sad reading. And I will be back another day with something lighter. Take care. Bye-bye.